everyone, welcome to my channel. I am so excited to be back. Finally done editing all my vlogs and catching up to all the content that I had planned. I have uploaded everything and now I'm free to sit down and film a video. I think the last video that I have actually sat down for is my Colourpop video. Yeah, the Colourpop video, which I will link so that you guys can go ahead and watch. That was the last video I did sitting down and filming. So I'm really excited to be back. Thank you so much for all this love and support on the Maldives vlogs, which I will put up. Yes, I'm plugging a lot of my content. So in this video, if you've already read the title, it's gonna be on the MILANI All-Inclusive Eye, Cheek and Face palette. The reason why I decided to do a dedicated video on this palette is because the only good quality and drugstore face palette that I know of is the Sugar palette. I have the palette in number 1, Subtle Summit or something like that, and that palette is nice, it's good, but I feel like that palette could be better. So this is the palette, this is the outer packaging. It came like this with a bubble wrap. It did not have any kind of a sleeve. When I saw this on the Myntra website, I saw it on Myntra first, but I immediately thought of Charlotte Tilbury. I was like, oh my god, that's the Charlotte Tilbury palette in a drugstore format. So you get 3 eyeshadows, 2 matte eyeshadow and 1 shimmery one. You get a shimmery blush, a matte blush, a bronzer and a highlight. And I feel like it's a very compact, curated face product for you, which is really good for travel. There is a mirror, a very nice sized mirror where I can see my whole face. If I can see my face on it, you will see yours because my head is huge. If I forgot to mention, this is the volume 110 light to medium. This is the light to medium variant. There is also dark to deep dark or something like that. But I did not see it on Nykaa or on Myntra, so I'm not sure if it's available here. MILANI is also cruelty free. If you care, if you buy this palette, you will have that conscious lifted off of you that this was not tested on animals. Anyway, so let's quickly move on to the review, and at the end of it I'm gonna give you a short conclusion on whether you should buy it or not. I hope the audio is working because last time I filmed a whole video and then I realized that there's no audio. Put on a base before I try on this. I'm going with my normal base. It's gonna be my Maybelline foundation in the shade 128 warm nude, and I'm gonna put on the L'Oreal Infallible concealer in 314 beige. This is the combination I have for a long time. I feel like I could go a little lighter to highlight, but it's good for the overall face, so I use this concealer with this foundation. So I just do a small, mostly focus the cheek area and sides of my nose. This brush, this is a fake Huda Beauty brush that my cousin has. It's very small, compact and domed and very fluffy. Just use it for powdering my under eye. This brush is actually one of a very unusual find. At first I thought this is one of the most useless brush I've ever seen. Now I use it to powder my under eye and set my concealer around my face instead of using a huge brush because I don't want my face to be too powdery. This brush is like multifaceted. If you can get it, you buy it. It's actually really good. I like to use this brush when I need to intensify my blush, and I use it when I would like a soft highlight, which is really contradictory, but it is the palette right here. It is beautiful. You have a nice mirror over here. It says we are MILANI and you have this plastic covering the powder. I'm one of those people who actually likes to keep the packaging, the plastic and all inside, and this is the palette. It looks a bit lighter on camera than it is. The bronzer, I'm just going to use an angle brush for it. This is an Oriflame old brush that I have. I'm going to go with bronze. Okay, it's very, very powdery, so I'm going to be careful with it. So let's see how it goes. Okay, the plastic gets annoying very fast. So I'm gonna go around my forehead. Just to try, I'm gonna take this brush and I'm gonna contour my nose a little. So this is my bronzed face. I actually like it. The powder was easy to blend. It's quite pigmented, so I like it. The bronzer, if I show you this, it's very, very powdery. when I'm trying to pick up a little bit of product, a lot of it kind of flows out. It's very powdery, but I like the color on me. I feel like this is, it bronzes me up really nicely. I like the color of it. I feel like it's gonna suit a lot of skin tone because I went quite heavy with it because I wanted the camera to pick up the product in the film. Otherwise, I would not have put on this much of product. But I feel like this is gonna suit a lot of skin tone because you can go really light-handedly for a lighter skin tone, and for a deeper skin tone, you can build it up. Moving on to my cheeks, there are two blushes here. One is shimmery and one is matte. For blush, I'm gonna use my Nika brush. So first, I'm gonna move on to the matte blush. I'm gonna tap. The blush is also really powdery. I have both the rose blush and the baked blush formula, so I'm excited to see how this one works. Okay. Oh, you can actually see it. Yeah, it's very pigmented. The brush I've used is the Nika brush, and this one picks a lot of product anyway, but that is actually quite a blush. It's a very pretty peachy pink tone blush, and I think I need a second to blend it. Brush, and hopefully it will blend more. It's kind of stuck where I've put on. It's just kind of stuck in this one area and it's not blending. Maybe it was the brush. I'm gonna change my brush. I'm gonna use this one. This is more loosely packed than that one. Hopefully this will be better. I'm just gonna use a little bit of it. I just did one tap. I even brush it off, so let's see now. Okay, yeah, much better. Okay, yeah, it was definitely my brush. The brush was the problem, not the blush itself. Yeah, so much better. I don't know if you can see a difference. I feel like you can, kind of. This blush is kind of, it looks nice. Like, I'm not saying, it looks nice, it's a look. Like, I love this kind of blush, which is really pigmented and it's under my face. But as you can see, it's kind of stuck here and it's not blending no matter how much I blend. I even put powder on top of it to tone it down and blend it more, but it's just kind of stuck here. But on the other hand, when I use this brush, more loosely packed blush, you can see it's blended nicely. And this is what most people would go for, which is why I'm showing you this. I'm okay with this. Like, I'm completely fine with a heavy blush. I love the heavy blush look, so I'm cool with it. It's just kind of stuck here, and on the other hand, this side it's blended better. Which side number? Cousin said this side is better, so it's what I. The cheek. If you use small amounts, it's gonna be fine. Just be careful with how much you apply. Let's try on the shimmery one. Usually I would not do both blushes at once, but since it's a review, I'm gonna apply. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is a look. This is definitely too much blush, and it's definitely a look. I have so much blush on my face right now. This shimmery one, it's actually really nice. It does not emphasize any texture on my skin.
It's a very nice highlighted glow to the skin, but I feel like if you apply a lot, then it's gonna be very blinding.
It's actually a really pretty blush topper. Moving on to the exciting part. I've never used the Milani eyeshadow before, so I'm excited. For my eyeshadow, I have already set my concealer, so it's fine right now. I'm gonna move straight on to the eyes, since the look is obviously gonna be really neutral because there's just a brown, a lighter variant of pink, like a really light pink, and a shimmery pink in the middle. It's kind of similar to the blush shade, to be honest. You can obviously use the whole palette as a whole for any kind of look. Let's go with the eyeshadow trio that they have provided. Going with the lighter shadow, I'm packing it on my while blending brush. Okay, that was a lot of powder. I don't know if you saw that. The reason why I'm picking up a lot on the brush is because this kind of a shade, yeah, like I said, this kind of a shade will not show up on the skin. For now, that's the only complaint I have. That usually I don't mind a powdery shade, but since this one does not have that much pigment, I wish it wasn't this powdery. So this is the first shade. It will, okay, this is getting annoying. To be honest, this thing is getting really annoying. I'm gonna move on to this one, to this shade. This looks much more pigmented, but it's a neutral brown. Already much better, much better, and it does not have as much fallout as the first shade. It's actually really nice. This is the first time I'm using Milani eyeshadows. For now, It was one hit and one miss. Like, this brown shade is beautiful. It's kind of just blended on itself. It did not take a lot of time for me to blend. I'm using a PAC PE20 brush. This is a really good brush for packing on loads of color, which is why I picked up this brush. And that's the brown. That's actually really pretty, and it literally blended by itself. I did not have to work this color a lot. Usually I would just use two brushes and go ham with it. So I'm just gonna use this brush and I'm gonna pack on the brown shade, and I'm gonna squeeze it a bit on the side and then place that color on my lower lash line. This is a really nice hack if you have limited number of brushes, or if you're just a beginner. You don't
need multiple brush sets. You can just have a few good ones. Contrary to what other YouTubers or Instagram video creators tell
you don't need a lot of brushes. You just need a few good. So I'm gonna move on to my shimmer. Oh wow, that's actually really nice. Let's see how it swatches. Wow, that's beautiful. Let me swatch it next to the blush to see if it's similar. Okay, the blush feels much more creamy. Yeah, there is a subtle difference. Obviously, this is a bit more shimmery and this is like metallic. It says shimmer, but it's literally metallic. I love this shade. This looks beautiful. This one is obviously the blush, so it's not similar as I thought it was. Oh wow. Okay, Milani, this shimmer is so pretty, and I don't have a pink shimmer like this in my collection because I don't know why, but oh my god, this is so pretty. It's not oily. You know how some metallics can be really oily, so it kind of leaves most of the pigment on your finger and not on your lid. This is not like that. It transfers to the lid very, very nicely. I don't feel it dragging my lid. It does not emphasize any lines. That is a beautiful shimmer. If all Milani eyeshadows are like this, then I am so gonna buy more palettes from Milani. Like, I'm shocked at how pretty these are. This palette does not have an inner corner highlight shade. I'm just gonna go with my highlight and I'm just gonna place it here. That's pretty. So this was the eyeshadow done. I'm gonna put on some mascara and be right back. I've put on my mascara and a little bit on my cheek as well, so I have to wait for it to dry. The only thing left right now is the highlight. So for highlight, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a fair shot. I'm gonna use both the brushes which I would normally use for highlight. This brush is a Wet n Wild. There's no number on it. I feel like I rubbed it off. This is very old. This is a Wet n Wild highlighting brush. This is the highlighting brush which I use when I need to do precise highlighting. And this is the Huda Beauty brush that I was talking about from before. I will use both to give you two effects. I'm gonna use my Huda Beauty brush on this cheek. The reason why I'm moving my head a lot is because I'm searching for the place where the light would hit me naturally, and I'm seeing it over here. So I'm gonna take the highlight. It's powdery as it can be with this whole palette. The theme of the palette is powdery. So I see it here. So I'm gonna, oh wow. This is a very gold, a light gold highlight. And the really nice thing about this highlight right now is that it is actually not emphasizing my texture. It's blending very, very pretty. This side is not blending as well as this side. I think this is a problem with my face today. So I'm just gonna use this, the Nika brush which I use for blush, and just go over it a little. I'm gonna use this brush next, and this is something that Tati recently taught Tati. If you watch her on YouTube, she talked about how she tilts her head back, and just on the highest point she uses a really pigmented highlight and just taps on the highest point of her cheek, and it just kind of brings the highlight in. Like, she talked about it much better than the way I'm explaining it to you all. So I'm just gonna use this brush. I'm gonna apply it, just tilt back, and on the highest point, oh wow, I love this highlight. Just for the last time, I'm blending it. The thing with me is I blend a lot. Like, I like to see a blended face. I don't like to see contour, blush, highlight. I like to see a flow of everything. So when I'm done with everything, when I'm done applying my makeup, I go with a clean brush and I just kind of go everywhere that I've put on powders and just lightly glaze. I'm going to use my Maybelline 673 lipstick in Midtown Pink. It's a very nice nude. I recently got this. It looks more red on camera, but it's actually a really and I think I'm done. This is the completed face of makeup. I hope you enjoyed the demo. First of all, talking about the size, it's very compact, it's lightweight, it's cardboard. So for that reason, I am really happy with the size and look of it. I don't mind the design on it. I think it's pretty. It has Milani written on it and it's really easy to store, which I'm really happy about because my makeup collection has been growing steadily. So anything which is compact, I'm really happy with it. Like, I do not need huge, heavy, chunky products anymore. I'm really happy with the size of it. It does not take a lot of room on your makeup vanity or on your travel bag, which is obviously a bonus. When you carry this, you do not need to think about your makeup a lot and you don't need to carry an extra bronzer, highlight, eyeshadow, blushes and all those things. You know, you just need one palette and you're good to go. Shimmers in this palette have really impressed me with their formula. The highlight, the blush and the eyeshadow, the shimmer, they are beautiful. When I swatch them, they are creamy. When I apply it on my face, they are really blendable. I actually would go as far as to say that I prefer the shimmery blush to the matte brush, which is very new for me because I don't own a lot of shimmery brushes, but I really like the shimmery brush that this product has. They have selected a really nice variety of tones for the shimmers. The highlight is very golden on the finger, and when you swatch it, it's very golden, but when you blend it, it kind of gives a very soft champagne kind of a highlight, which is really unique. I was comparing it to the Maybelline Master Chrome highlight in Molten Gold, but I feel like that's much more gold than this one. This is much more wearable and subtle compared to the Maybelline one. The blush is very creamy and the shimmery particles are actually really finely milled, so it's not as blinding or as, you know, chunky of a formula. It blends really well, and as a blush topper, I'm really happy with it. The shimmer eyeshadow is the one which shocked me the most. I think that's my favorite part of the palette. It is the thing that surprised me the most because of the pigment. I was not expecting this kind of a payoff with a palette like this, because I feel like usually in face palettes the eyeshadows are not the most exciting thing, but I literally would want to pick out this eyeshadow and keep it in my favorites pile. That's how pretty this shimmer is. It has a very pretty pink color with a lot of gold reflect on it, so it just translates so pretty and natural, and at the same time it's so glam. It elevates the look a lot just by that shimmer. And obviously when you're doing eye looks, you can replace this eyeshadow with the highlight and just apply that highlight instead of this really pink kind of a shimmer, and you get another look. Drugstore highlight is one thing which I would recommend to anyone, because I feel like we have come a long way and all the highlights are actually really good. You don't get a bad highlight. If you get a bad highlight, then I don't know what to say. The company must be doing some weird thing to it, because highlights are universally really easy to make. Mattes of the palette, the bronzer, the blush over here, and the two eyeshadows. I could have had a deeper eyeshadow, some other color over here instead of this really light. I have the same problem with a lot of my other palettes, where I don't necessarily see the point of having a very light, close to white eyeshadow of different variants, but I know some people see a lot of use out of it, but that's not me. That is the one complaint I have with this palette, is that I feel like the upper shadow could have been another color, a deeper brown maybe, to do a line. Maybe even a cooler tone of this brown would have done it. Like, you could have used that for your eyebrows. The formula is very powdery. All the mattes are extremely powdery, and which I don't know if you can see, this whole plastic is covered with powder. Kind of annoying to deal with so much powder because I kept blowing on the palette to remove, and it gets dirty very quickly because the background is black, so it gets dirty. The brown over here is actually really nice. I was really impressed with how buttery and creamy it was. It kind of blended by itself. It was a combination of the formula plus this brush which I talked about, PE20, the bronzer. I don't own a bronzer. I have a sugar palette and a Wet n Wild palette. Both of them are kind of cooler tone, so it's more of a contour than a bronzer. This is a true bronzer. It's very warm. It has a nice depth of color. The reason why I keep saying nice depth and tone, I'm talking a lot about all those things because it's not just about how dark a color can be, it's about what kind of a tone of color. And this tone is gonna suit a lot of people. On camera it looks a bit lighter. In real life it's very deep. It's a deep brown, a warm tone brown, and this kind of a shade will flatter Indian skin tones because if you saw me blending it, it blended very easily and it suited my complexion a lot. And the number one reason for it is because of the tone they used. If you're a light skin person, you can use a very light hand and go over your face, and it's going to give you a very nice bronzed beachy look. And if you have a darker skin tone, you can load the brush quite a bit and build up the color to your desired face bronzer, which is going to suit a lot of spectrum. That's what I believe. Obviously it would have been nice to have the darker variant available here too, but it's going on to the blush. The blush here is very buttery to touch. It's very creamy. The formula seems to be milled finely and it seems nice, but as you saw, the moment I picked it up on my Nika brush and I placed it on my cheek, it just kind of got stuck over there and would not blend. But if you use a fluffy blending brush like this brush, then it was really easy to build up the color. Use a little because it's actually very pigmented, so use little by little and blend it as you use it, and you'll get a very beautiful finish to your face. I recommend this to a lot of people. I feel like this is the one and done kind of a palette. It really is an all in face and eyes inclusive palette. This palette should have more hype around it. I don't know why there are not more reviews. The only criticism that I have against it is that there are not many variants. If it's an all-inclusive line, then there should have been more variants. But other than that, I feel like this product is so good and affordable. If you go on Myntra, you'll get it on discount most of the times at 35% off, and if you go on Nika, it sometimes goes on discount, and for the price point, I feel like you could really experience Milani as a brand through this palette. It translates well as a brand statement because I feel like if you have this palette to experience Milani as a brand, you will be really happy with your purchase. If you want to buy this palette, go for it. It's a safe choice. I feel like it will suit a lot of skin tones. Obviously, see if these colors are dark enough for you or light enough for you before purchasing it. Don't just blindly go and buy just because I said that it's really good. Go for it if you feel like you could use this product. Hope you enjoyed this video. It was a long video for me to film because I kept having to cut and do my makeup, and it's been a long time since I've sat down and done my makeup in front of the camera. So I hope I did a good job. I hope that you all got the information that you wanted from me, and I hope that you will like this video, comment and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram to know better about the upload schedule because it's all over the place. I usually upload on Saturdays or Wednesday. Thank you so much for supporting me till here, and bye.